Every Sunday, actually, we used to do previously, the AZ 204 Azure developer track that is now at a good state. So like we'll be doing every 2 months. And today we are doing Angular hands-on and with MVC core, right? So we already have the videos. We have so many videos out there. I know that. So if you just go to QuestPond, we have a lot of videos. I'm not sure how many of you guys are really seeing the videos, but the goal of this session is to get you quickly started. Because, for example, if you say like, you want to go and learn Angular, so you can see here, learn Angular. We have like, 10, 15 videos out here, every video almost of an hour. When will a person go? When will a person really go and start with Angular? What if he gets stuck, then what it is, right? So the goal of this kickstart is that to help you to get quickly started. If you have any questions, you can ask. Also, if you are planning to practice, I have with me Guru here. So Guru is my co-trainer. He helps me. He does a lot of POCs for me, right? So Gurunath, there you can see Gurunath, right? Uh, who has been helping me to in all my trainings, MSBI, SQL Server, Azure, Angular. He's there to support me, right? So if you have any questions, I am there definitely, and also my co-trainer is also there with me, right? So the goal of this training is to help you to quickly get started. For example, some years back, I'm sorry, I was trying to learn Python. So what happened? Somebody told me, see, this is how you install PyCharm, this is how you write the hello world, this is how you do things. And after that, once the ball gets low rolling, right? I started learning. And then eventually it all worked out, right? So the goal here is must be we cover like first lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4. Must be we cover of MVC core in the same way we have MVC core, right? So must be we cover some more labs out here, create a small screen, make a post to MVC core, and you can at least get quickly started, right? So what I've done is this is 5 days of training I've planned, right? Today is the first Sunday. So today what we will do is we will do Node, we will do NPM, we will do TypeScript, we will run our first Angular application. We will try to also understand what is Angular, the structure of it, right? Then the next Sunday, we will create a simple UI in Angular. Must be customer code, customer name, a button, right? After that, we will do MVC core on Sunday, right? The third Sunday, and then integrating Angular with MVC. So like I make a post in Angular, it goes to MVC, it goes to the backend database and so on. And then fifth Sunday, I'm planning EF core. Now, this is my tentative plan. If you guys come on Sunday, like if I get 20, 25 people every day coming on Sunday, I'm okay to add new Sundays out here. Like I can then say, okay, people are interested, I will take the sixth Sunday as well, right? So remember that I've just given the like 5 days of plan, right? 5 hours of plan, which will help you to quickly get started with things. And then you can also go and see the videos to assist you. Gurunath sir is here to assist you. I am here to assist you, right? So let us start with Angular first. Now, in order to learn Angular, right? So if you have any questions, guys, please use our chat window out here. This session is also streamed live on YouTube, so if anyone out there wants to ask a question, the first session only is streamed live, definitely, not the other sessions. But if anyone is interested to ask some questions, please go ahead, right? So the goal of this training is that we would like to create the UI in Angular and HTML. Our backend will be damn simple MVC core. Remember, at this moment, MVC .NET 5.0 is also out. So we will also look into a bit of .NET 5.0 as well. From MVC core, we will use EF core. And we will make a storage into SQL Server. That's what the plan is. Very simple, right? And what my understanding is, at least, as a developer, I've seen, if I can create an UI, make a post, connect to a database, I'm almost, when I do the basic CRUD, that's it. I get started, right? So that's the goal of this training. So let us start with Angular. Now, in order to learn Angular, in case if you're very new to Angular, in order to learn Angular, the first thing is you have to understand a bit of thing called as NPM, Node Package Manager, right? This NPM actually belongs to something called as Node. So we'll talk about Node as well. But we don't have to do like a node thing. We have to just do NPM, Node Package Manager. Once you understand NPM, we will try to understand something called as TypeScript. Just basics of TypeScript. What is it? What is what, right? And once you are done TypeScript, then we will go into Angular CLI, right? And by using Angular CLI, we will create a project, and at least our first Angular application should be up and running, right? So before even touching this thing Angular, we have to do NPM and TypeScript, right? Now remember that whenever you are learning these open source technologies like React or Angular, right, there is a lot of other things to learn. So for example, like we are learning Node, we are learning NPM, right? My only request is that do not ever try to go too much depth into it. Like if you start with, like for Angular, we need only NPM, not really node programming. So don't go into node programming, right? Again, NPM, we need only few commands, NPM install, NPM this. Do that much, move to TypeScript. Do again the basics of TypeScript. So you have to complete the full cycle. Don't go into TypeScript and then say, oh, like then you lose your stamina, you waste your 1 or 2 hours, and then you feel the heat and you leave Angular, right? So don't do that. Just see that how you can make your first Angular application running. This is called as delayed learning. As a trainer, what I've seen is that I've been teaching for 20 years. That delayed learning means what, right? Whatever are the tough topics, let it come later on. Whatever are the easy ones, the happy path, first complete that, right? This is a guru mantra to learn any new technology out there, right? So I'm going to first start with Node here. So what exactly is Node? So I'm going to go to the Node website. Remember, if you're new to Angular, this will be a revision for you. If you're not new to Angular, then everything is like from scratch, right? So that is Node out here. And if you look at Node, it says Node.js is a JavaScript runtime which is built on Chrome V8 engine. Means what? That basically over here, in simple words, Node helps you to run JavaScript, outside the browser. So for example, if you want to run a Java application, what do? You install JDK. If I'm sorry, if you want to run a .NET application, you install the .NET SDK. If you want to run Python, right? So you have the Python SDK. In the same way, this Node is a JavaScript runtime which is extracted from Chrome. Remember, the Chrome browser, what we have at this moment, has the most awesome JavaScript compiler. As a developer, you must have seen that whenever you want to debug JavaScript, the first thing you will say, right click, inspect in Chrome, and then you start debugging. Why? Because it's one of the most beautiful JavaScript engine, right? So what they did, they removed the complete Chrome browser and they created this Node.js, right? So if you go and if you install any of the versions you can install, you can see 2 versions out here, the latest one, right? Or you can install the stable one, right? Once you install Node, then in your command prompt, you can go and you can fire node-v up. So let me run my command prompt in admin mode. Something wrong in my writes out there. So you can see here, I ran my command prompt in admin mode. It says that you have installed 14.11. It's okay. Like I 14.15, but 14.11 is also okay, right? But it should be at least the 14th version, right? 14th major version. So there it is. Now we don't have to learn Node. To learn Angular, we don't have to learn Node. I've just installed Node. Inside Node, there is something called as NPM, Node Package Manager. This Node Package Manager, what it does is it actually helps you to install any JavaScript framework in your computer. For example, if you want to go and get jQuery, so what do? You go ahead, you Google, you go to the jQuery.org. I don't know what website it is. You copy the jQuery.js file, put it into your folder, right? But by using Node, by using NPM, which is a part of Node, I don't have to do all that, right? So for example, so I'll go and I will say your jQuery, where is it? I will go to that website, here, and then you take a binary version, you put it into your computer. So download this, too much of a work, right? And we don't know this is the latest version also or not, right? And so on, right? So what you can do now here is you can go ahead and you can, so here, use NPM. So I'm going to go and create a folder out here. So I'll create a folder saying this is Angular and Node lectures, Angular and MVC lectures, right? So Today is 27/12/2020. So whatever I do out here, I'll do it here for today's class, 27/12/2020. Right. So over here now, if I want to go and install, let us say jQuery, so what I can do, I can go to my command prompt. Again, let me fire this command prompt in admin mode. So run as admin. And let me do on CD and let me go to that folder out there. Now I can go here and I can say NPM Node Package Manager install jQuery. And what it will do is this NPM install jQuery will go to GitHub. GitHub is a central repository for almost all the JavaScript frameworks. So it will go to GitHub and you can see on my computer, it has created a folder called as node_modules. This is a reserved folder, exactly like this, node_modules, right? If you go inside this, you will find that there is jQuery, and then it has brought all the jQuery files. It has brought all the source code as well. But our interest is in the distributed folder, distribution folder, where you will get the jQuery mean.js or jQuery.js. And then you can start using this in your project, right? So if you want to go and install, let us say now, Knockout. Knockout is again a very famous framework, old framework for doing the view model. So npm install Knockout. It will again go to GitHub, take Knockout, and you can see Knockout is here. So npm is nothing but it is a node package manager to get any kind of open source JavaScript framework very easily inside your computer, right? And this will also help us to install Angular. So the goal of Node here is to install Angular in your computer. That's it, right? So we don't have to learn Node. We have to learn NPM. So remember this command, NPM install whatever jQuery, Knockout, Lodash, right? And then everything is getting installed into node_modules, right? Now, definitely one of the things we also need out here is we need an editor where we can go and write code. So I would suggest you to install the VS Code editor. So we have Visual Studio Code out here. Remember, I will also write down the notes, what I'm saying. So first, and all these notes I will share. All these recordings are available on Questpond. So first, you have to learn Node. So I said Node helps you to run JavaScript outside the browser, right? We did not see any demo in this because I don't want you to go and learn Node. I'm sorry, guys, too much smoke here. Okay. Actually, we have this fumigation which is happening near my balcony. So a lot of smoke is coming. Okay. Okay. So we have Node here. So I did not talk about Node. You know why? Because more than Node, our interest is NPM, Node Package Manager. And what does Node Package Manager do? Node Package Manager helps us to install JavaScript frameworks out here. And how does it do? NPM install jQuery, and it creates a folder called as node_modules. This is a kind of a reserved folder where the frameworks are copied, right? So simple notes so that you can quickly get started, right? Now, guys, let me complete 20 minutes of my lesson. Then I will come to all the Q&A. Don't worry. If you have any questions, you can put down on the chat, right? I'm more than happy to start, right? Happy to answer. I'm sorry. Now, the next thing out here is we need an editor. And for that, I said we will use Visual Studio Code, right? Visual Studio Code. Now, Visual Studio Code is nothing but it is an editor given by Microsoft. So you can go and you can install Visual Studio Code. So there it is. Remember that don't confuse Visual Studio Code with Visual Studio. Visual Studio is that big thing, bulky thing. It is meant specifically for C#. It runs only on Windows. But this VS Code is like an editor. You can run C#, you can run Python, you can run Angular, you can run JavaScript. Remember, an editor and an IDE has a difference. Editor means what? Like edit plus. You know, it does not have an affinity of a language. When you say IDE, integrated development environment, so if you say Eclipse, it is very good for Java. It can work for other frameworks also, but Java is what it does the best. If you say Visual Studio, again an IDE, awesome for C Sharp. It was made for C Sharp and VB.NET, right? So an IDE has an affinity and a love for a language, while an editor is in general. So VS Code is an editor. Edit Plus is an editor, right? So install VS Code. Once you install VS Code, you get an icon like this, Visual Studio Code. You can go and you can run this. So I'll just ensure that we have Visual Studio Code here. So I'll be showing all my demos, at least of Angular in VS Code, right? Now, once you open VS Code, right, you can see now it has opened up my old project. So you don't have to worry about, what kind of code you are seeing here, because it opens the last project, right, by default. So it has opened up this project, but don't get too stressed by looking at all this, right? So let us go and say file, open folder, and we will do some things here in this 27/12/2020. So in this folder, we will do some coding. So there it is. So in Visual Studio Code, you don't open a project, you open a folder, right? It's an editor, right? And so you can see all my left-hand side, you can see all my files. So if I go and if I delete all these files, it will also go away from VS Code. So if I delete from here, it goes from here, right? So it is just showing that in your folders, what files you have. Also, this VS Code has a very nice terminal out here from where you can go and you can fire commands. So for example, if I want to go and fire NPM commands, I can say NPM install jQuery. So you can see when I say NPM install jQuery, at the left-hand side, look at the left-hand side, it shows me node_modules with all the files, right? Great. So the other thing what we need out here is we need Visual Studio Code. Remember, Visual Studio Code always opens a folder and it has a terminal window from where you can fire commands. Right? You can fire commands. Great. Okay. So we now know what is NPM, helps to install packages, node_module, a reserved folder, and we know Visual Studio Code. Great. Now, also we need to understand one more thing here called as the package.json file. Now, what happens is if you see here, I've installed jQuery, right? Let us say I install Knockout. I install Lodash. Lodash means _JS, very useful. I install Lodash. So what happens now is, in my local folder out here, you will see that there are lots of packages which gets installed. So if you refresh, you will see that there is jQuery, there is Knockout, there is Lodash. Great. And you write some code here. You use that framework. So you write some HTML code here, index.html. You use jQuery, you use Lodash, right? So you go here and you use all these frameworks, right? Now, when you move from one computer to another computer, you will not go and take this node_module, right? Your source code is only this much, index.html. So you'll take that HTML, you will move to another folder, or you will check in only index.html. Actually, you will only check in index.html and not node_modules. So what happens now is, next time when you go to another computer, you need to again go and do all that NPM install jQuery, so you can see here now I've deleted everything. Let's say you are in a new computer and then you have to again do NPM install jQuery, NPM install Lodash. It does not make sense, right? We need to have a reference file wherein I can say in my project, I'm using Lodash, I'm using jQuery, I'm using this, and I don't have to install individual frameworks. I can reference that file and say NPM install, that's it. So for that, we have a package.json file. So we can create the package.json file by using the npm init command. So I can say here, this is my package.json file. Just press enter, 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 enter. And you will see that this is package.json. Now, if I install any framework here, for example, if I install jQuery, look at this. So I go here and I install jQuery. What it will do is that it will make an entry into the package.json file. So you can see that it is. If I install Knockout, right, it will again make an entry into the dependencies. Look at that, dependencies. right? So now let us say, now even if you delete this node underscore modules, deleted, right? You don't have to worry, because now you have the package.json file. The package.json file has all the entries of what references you are using. You can just say npm install, and that's it. So one of the other things, which we need to know in npm is package.json file. So you can see here, the npm install command went to the file, he installed jQuery, and also he installed knockout, right? So so this was again one more important concept. Package.json file has all the references of what frameworks you use. Remember, this is all the preparation to start Angular. You can't just start Angular. You need to understand this ecosystem. So let us see if there are any questions. I'm going to go and see in the chat if there are any questions. Thank you, Abhilash. Thanks a lot. Why Lodash is used? So yes, Kiran, let me talk about it. Why Lodash is used here? Lodash. So very quickly, Lodash and uh, previously the name was underscore.js. Previously underscore means low dash low, right? Previously it was underscore.js. Now it is named as Lodash. So if you go to Lodash out here, I feel that Lodash is like a pickle. If you are working in a project of JavaScript and if you're not using Lodash, if you're not using jQuery, like it's like saying that something is incomplete, right? That's what Lodash is. So Lodash is nothing but it has huge ready reusable code. Like for example, you can see here reusable code. Like example, you want to get the current date and time, or let's say you have an array, you want to go and compact it. You have a string which you want to go and parse it. You have a maths function. So you can see it is like a big utility out there, and you can use this utility and you can minimize your code time. So that is what is Lodash. For example, look at the underscore chunk array size 1. So it will split, do and do something, right? Number function, something number out here, random numbers. Okay. Random numbers, right? So Lodash is like a string case. I want to do a camel case. I want to write an regular expression. I want to make a kebab case. So you talk about something which is utility function is all in Lodash, right? So love this framework. Okay, let me see any other questions. Yes, so very good question. Also, there is something called as package log.json. Absolutely, I'll talk about this. Let me go and also see what other people are asking questions. I don't know on. We also have. Let me help out the YouTube guys. I'm getting some messages directly out here. Is knockout okay? Is knockout required for Angular? No, knockout is not required for Angular. Absolutely not. Okay, so please give RxJS questions and answer PDF to us in Angular interview questions. Okay, so if you are not getting the PDF, correspond support, please help. Okay, cascading drop down in MVC core, we'll do that later on, don't worry. Angular 11, any company using in prod? I think so, Ram. Till now, you won't get too many companies in Angular 11, but Angular 10, there would be. Angular 11 is also quite stable, so we don't have to worry about it. Guys, I'm seeing some questions. Knockout JS is not required. Knockout JS is not required. This is an example to show you that how to install things. So Knockout JS and jQuery are not required, right? Okay. Okay, good question. Good, like I can see Swapnil here, that please talk about the caret sign. Please talk about the package log.json. So guys, let me go and talk about package log.json. This, what is this caret sign and so on, right? So I'm going to go and just take a snap out here. Okay. First thing, there is a question here from one of our friend. What exactly is this package log.json? This package log.json has a very big connection, very big connection with this caret here, right? So let us understand it. Okay, semantic versioning. Semantic. You must have heard this word semantic versioning, right? Semantic versioning means what? Semantic. What do you mean by semantic? Semantic means like I look like an elephant. Must be right. Semantically, I look like an elephant, but I'm not an elephant, right? So semantic means, oh, he is very sharp like a hawk, or he is very clever like a this, right? So you come semantic versioning. In IT industry, when you talk about versioning, you know, we all have a common thinking about how the version numbers are incremented. So in IT industry, everywhere when you talk about software applications, we have like three numbers here: the major version, like this, then the minor version and the revision. Major version, minor version, and revision. So now semantic versioning means all across the IT industry, people can say this is major version, minor version, bug version. Somebody can say big version, medium version, low version. They can put whatever names they want. But when they increment these major versions, when they increment the minor versions, right, we all are on the same page, right? Means what? When do you increment the major version? When you have breaking changes. Means, I don't know if you're from .NET. I remember my favorite app settings.reader was changed to something else. So previously I had something configuration.read, and when it went from .NET 2.0 to 3.0, they changed it, right? So breaking changes. Your current code probably will not compile with the new version. So at that time, we go and we increment this major version. Point number one. Major versions, when you are incrementing, that means you have breaking changes. Okay. Minor version. When do you increment a minor version? Minor version you increment, when you don't have breaking changes, but you are adding new features. For example, in .NET 4.0 to 4.5, we had something called as TPL, I think so, task parallel library, something came in, or I don't know, from 3.5 to 4.0, 4.0 to 4.5, I think they brought TPL, but they kept the threading running. So system.threading was there, but they introduced TPL, right? So here, there are new things which come in, but there are no breaking changes. Means your current code will work. That, so a lot of time, a lot of our .NET friends, they used to like open the project in a 3.0 project in 3.5, say next, and they say we have migrated, right? So yeah, there are no breaking changes. So you go like a breeze air and everything gets migrated, right? But for example, remember when you went from your 2.0 to 3.0, your web services became WCF, your something became WPF, and then your WWF. So like the web services and WCF was completely different, right? So you have to recode it, right? So major version breaking changes, minor version no breaking changes, but you are adding new features, right? And then the last version, the revision. Now you can say revision, bug fixes, service pack. I don't know. This last version has a lot of names, but here there are no breaking changes. Only bug fixes happen, security fixes happen, right? Okay. So these are the three version numbers which in IT industry we use. And semantically, for I am a developer here and someone developer in US or someone developer in Indonesia, we all are on the same page. Semantically, when we increment these numbers, we both are on the same page. Everyone is on the same page, right? Good. Now, why is it important to understand semantic in case of NPM? So now what happens? You do an NPM install. The NPM install takes the latest version from GitHub. I repeat this. NPM install takes the latest version from GitHub. So now the question can come is, so let us say if I am on 3.5.1, and let us say if on GitHub somebody releases 4.0.0, will he get the latest version? Because if he's going to get the latest version, that means automatically my major version will be migrated, and that would be catastrophic. Because I have seen that in projects, when you say that you want to increment the major version, there is a full project plan. Oh, we want to go from 4.0 to 5.0. Let us create a project plan because there can be breaking changes, right? So this automatic upgrade does not suit, for enterprise project, right? So good news here, automatically NPM does not increment the major version. Means what? Let us say you have 3.5.1. Let us say after that you have 3.6.1, assume. Let us say you have 3.7.2. Let us say you have 3.7.3. And let us say you have 4.0.0. It will not go to 4.0.0. It will go to this version here, 3.7.3. So when you put a caret sign, it takes the latest minor version and revision. So it will take 3.7.3, but it will never take 4.0. That is what the caret sign is meant for, right? Now assume, let me put one more here, 3.5.2. Now there is one more thing. You can put a tilde sign, 3.5.1. So one is you can put a caret sign and one is you can put a tilde sign. This tilde sign is like extra precautious, very conservative. It says that we don't even increment the minor version. We just want revision and bug fixes. So if you put 3.5.1, he will take only 3.5.2. He will not take 3.6.1. Tilde sign, right? And then if you're very conservative, must be you can just put the exact version, 3.5.1 without any caret, without any dollar, without any caret, without any tilde, right? So caret sign, first thing, no automatic major version will be incremented, period, right? Point number two, if you put on caret sign, the latest minor version and revision will be taken from GitHub. So 3.5.1, it will take 3.7.3. When you put a tilde sign, only the latest revision will be taken. Major version and minor version will be constant. And then if you want to be very exact, you can just say 3.5.1 without a caret sign, without a tilde sign, right? So that was the answer for a question here, that what exactly is this caret sign, right? I'll come to questions, guys. I'll just complete this. Now the question comes is, oh, so this guy goes and evaluates things top and bottom. How do we know which version has been installed now? So do I have to go now and figure out, okay, 3.5.1, 3.5. I need to know on what version I'm running. At least somewhere there should be an entry. And that is what is package lock.json. Lock. Where did your version get locked? Locked, like, okay, here it went there, it got locked into that version, right? So your exact version, you will find it in this package log. If you go here to the package log.json, 3.5.1, he's saying knockout also 3.5.1. You can see here, remember, knockout uses jQuery. Internally, knockout uses jQuery. So that's why, jQuery and the knockout versions are same. If I can install your Lodash, let me see. Please note, guys, the versions here look same because knockout and jQuery have the same versions. But if I install Lodash, there it is, Lodash. So there it is, Lodash is 4.17.20, right? So package.json, where we define what versions we want, package log.json, this file gets recreated every time you do npm install. So if this file is not present, this file you don't check in. It is only for your reference. So if you delete it, for example, if I delete this file, it's okay. But once you do an npm install like this again, something like this, it will actually get recreated. So it did not, there it is, you can see. So it just gets recreated again. We don't have to worry, right? So guys, any questions on, so very quickly, let's put down in the notes, caret sign for version controlling, semantic versioning. Version controlling, we have caret, tilde, and exact version. And package log.json has the exact version what you use. Great. Remember, speedy learning, fast learning. It is, now the GitHub has become so big, right? You can't just keep learning Node. That day I saw somebody was learning all the NPM commands. I'm saying that, guys, you're wasting your time. If you're going to learn npm install global, and don't worry, just move ahead. Just move ahead, right? So let's try to move ahead. Okay. So I can see PowerShell in the editor. Okay, let me see. Okay, I can see a lot of questions out here. A lot of questions. Let us see. Which Angular version need I to learn from SharePoint? SharePoint, I did not look into, Vijay. I need to check. So SharePoint, I'm not aware of. Can you tell us about the scope of Angular? I don't know what the question is. Must be Prakash. You can clarify your question more. There is $1 scope. I don't know what you're talking about. And if you're talking about scope of Angular, the biggest goal of Angular is binding. I don't know what scope you're talking about here. Must be you can clarify your question. Which one is better, React or Angular? Both of them are good. Let me be very frank. React is also good. Angular is also good, right? But Angular goes with MVC core. Let me tell you that. And Angular, you will find that I'm not trying to generalize the statement, but you will find that Angular goes with MVC core not because of technical reasons, but because of how the Angular team and Microsoft team work. See, what happens is, so Angular is created by Google. MVC is created by Microsoft, definitely, right? Now there is one connection point between both of them. Both of the technical teams of Microsoft and Angular, they do meet at a common thing called as TypeScript. I clearly remember when I was in NG India, I was talking with one of the internal Angular team members, and I asked him, like, do you guys ever meet? Then they said, yes, we do meet because we use TypeScript. And TypeScript is created by the C# creator, Mr. Anders. So the person who made C#, Mr. Anders Helsberg, has created TypeScript. So what happens now? If all the leaders are tying up together, the small janta like me gets tied up together, right? So VS Code belongs to Microsoft. TypeScript belongs to Microsoft. TypeScript is used by Angular team. And this is a very big surprise. Microsoft and Google are like head-ons with each other. They are competitors. But this TypeScript was so well created that at the end of the day, if you want productivity, Angular team just implemented it, right? So thanks to Mr. Anders, because I feel that he has created so many technologies, right? If you go and if you see his Wikipedia page, he has created C#, he has created TypeScript, something 65 years of old guy. And so the Angular team, the Angular team is very young. They kind of respect him. When you see an old person, right? So they know that if he's putting his hand in TypeScript, that means it is good. So what has happened is, because at the top, these guys are somewhere connected, bottom, all the developers like me start using Angular because, they find that there is a natural bonding, right? But at the end of the day, React is also good. It can definitely work with MVC core, nothing, simple post, get, put, right? But I'm just talking about that why Angular is used more in MVC core projects. Now, my own personal reason, somebody will say that, okay, sir, technical, leave it. Why do you not choose React? This is my personal thing. Now, for me, Angular is created by Google. Google is a technical company, technology company. C# is created by Microsoft, a technology company, right? React is created by Facebook, a social media company. This is where I disconnect because a company which makes Instagram and company which makes Facebook, right? They have a different mindset. They are very good into their space of social media. But when it comes to creating programming languages, creating tools, right? Like Google has created Golang. It has a search engine. It is started by developers. So somewhere I feel connected, like, okay, if these guys have created, it must be stable, right? So it is just my psychology. I'm saying, you guys, I'm not trying to generalize it. But what I do is that if I'm choosing any technical thing, I just see that who is the backend company who is there. So if the backend company is good, if it's a technological company, I embrace it, right? So the only problem with my personal thing with React is, remember, React has a very big community, vibrant, performance wise. Also, it is very much, a lot of people say it is better than Angular. I have my own reservations for it. I'm just saying that for me, more than technical, it is about who is supporting it, right? So that's why I prefer Angular with MVC core, right? It's just my personal thinking. Okay, I can see a lot of questions, guys. Let me continue, because let me not diverse away from the main topic. Remember, today is the first day of the class, so let me see what I've done. NPM I've done. I have done Node. I've done I have not done TypeScript, right? So let us talk about TypeScript, and then we will move ahead. TypeScript. let us complete some topics here. Must be today. I think we'll just complete TypeScript or Angular CLI. TypeScript. Okay, there it is. TypeScript. TypeScript. So if you look at the TypeScript homepage, remember, I always go to the homepage of the open source, whatever you want to learn. For example, I went to Node. Node said, we are built on Chrome V8 engine. Okay. TypeScript says, so they have a slogan and they try to follow that slogan, right? So TypeScript says that it extends JavaScript by adding types. TypeScript says that it extends JavaScript by adding types. Actually, there was one good definition previously. They have removed it. That TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. I like that definition. I think they have removed it. But let me stick to their official definition now. TypeScript extends JavaScript by adding types. Now, people who come from C#, people who come from Java, people who come from C++, we all have some psychology of programming. We believe in strongly typed. We like, as soon as I type, I get errors, compile time errors, right? We want to start with classes and objects and polymorphism. So if you look at JavaScript, right, JavaScript does not understand types. So for example, here, I will just delete all this. Let us focus on TypeScript. So JavaScript is a dynamic language. It is like a free man, right? And so over here, I'll go and I'll create a JavaScript file, javascript1.js. So I go here and I say var x is equal to 0. Then I say x plus plus. And then I suddenly say x is equal to shiv, right? And then no errors. Now what happens, this is, see, remember, a dynamic language have their own advantages. Personally, I like dynamic languages more. But now what happens is, because a lot of people who started their career from C#, who started their career from Java, their brain is now brainwashed, actually. They won't accept this. They will say, no, it is not strongly typed, right? So here what happens here, this is now a number. And then it comes to the next line, it becomes a string. And then it can go to the next line and become something else. For example, here now, this application will crash, actually. Means it will stop working because it has become a string. Now, this is what the C# guy or a person who's doing Java, he cannot digest this, right? That's what TypeScript comes into picture. So in TypeScript, if I say here sum1.ts like this, now in TypeScript, I have to go and define a data type. You have to define a type. The name itself says define a type, right? So I'll say here like, okay, where x is a number, 100. Now I can't do this. If I go and say x is equal to shiv, compile time errors. Compile time errors. So it catches, while I write the code, it catches my error, right? So that's what that slogan says. TypeScript extends JavaScript, right? So it takes all the good things of JavaScript, right? You say, okay, this is good. You are strongly typed, but now I want to create a var y, which is like dynamic. Fine. If you want to dynamic, any. Now this y can now become a string because you have said any. Here it is, becomes a string. Here it is, becomes a. So, you get the best of the both worlds. You can write code of JavaScript like alert here. You can be loosely typed. And you can be strongly typed, right? So that's what is TypeScript. But finally, when TypeScript gets compiled or converted, it gets converted to JavaScript. So in other words, if you see this file sum1.ts, if I want to go and run this as JS, I have to say TypeScript compiler tsc sum1.ts. He will generate a sum1.js. So you can see at the left-hand side, if everything goes well, sum1.js. So you can see now this was a number. It has become just var x. The alert is alert, right? So JavaScript sits on the top of TypeScript sits on the top of JavaScript. It extends JavaScript by adding types. saves you time, errors, provide fixes before you run the code. And definitely because it is JavaScript, it can run on any browser, right? So that is again TypeScript. And second very important thing about TypeScript, I can go and I can write classes and objects. Remember again, one more important psychological thing about C# and Java guys is their morning and evening starts with classes and interfaces and polymorphism and abstraction, encapsulation. Their whole life they keep discussing what is the difference between abstract class and interface. They can't think about a design without a class, right? And then you come to JavaScript, it's only function. If you want to do inheritance, prototype, you are suddenly lost somewhere, right? So here in TypeScript, I can say class customer. I can say my variable name and data type. I can do inheritance, class customer child, extends customer. I don't understand why Anders has not used colon. If you can figure that out, he should have used colon. You know, I don't see that, but in TypeScript, I believe that because it is coming from a C# creator, I should see all things about C# here, right? So I do see some things about C#, but some things not about C#. For example, why not this? I don't know. So extends, right? But something about C#, like if you see that array, or if you see the list, so cast, let's say some collection of array, that generics, remember? So that I can see of C#, right? So some things about C# comes in, but some things are not there of the C#, right? Wonderful language he has created. Remember, Microsoft was always a RAD application development company. RAD. RAD means you drag and drop and code is generated. Right from the days of, I remember we had C++, they made VC++, we had Fox Pro, they killed that DBase Plus and they made Visual Fox Pro. There was Basica, they made Visual Basic, they made visual of everything, and developers became slave of this code behind. It went till ASP.NET Web Form code behind. What is TypeScript? A code behind actually for JavaScript. So remember I don't want to say, but that Anders is more, and Anders or the whole Microsoft team, they more push towards RAD. They want to see that, okay, how quickly you can deliver. Definitely at some moment of time, it becomes a problem. That's why, this TypeScript is a rapid application development, for JavaScript, right? And that's why, Angular releases versions very fast. Why? Because they're using TypeScript. So classes, extends, interfaces, polymorphism, everything, right? Okay, let me go to questions. So guys, we'll not do TypeScript too much. When I start with Angular, I will talk about TypeScript, right? So very quickly, I will just write down here in the notes. I will come to questions. Definitely, I'll come to questions. TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. It adds types. It makes JavaScript strongly typed. It makes JavaScript strongly typed. Remember a superset. Actually, the first definition in the TypeScript was very great, actually, superset. I didn't like this strongly typed. Superset means like you have x is equal to 1, 3, 4, and then you say y is 1, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. Y is a superset of x. Why? Because it also has all the things and extra to it, right? So I say that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript because what does JavaScript have? JavaScript have, it is dynamic. Awesome. JavaScript is prototypical. Awesome. And something. What does TypeScript say? Yes, we are also dynamic. We are also prototypical, but we are also strongly typed. But we also have classes. But we also have something extra. So remember that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. TypeScript adds types to JavaScript, right? So very simple definition. Let me go out here. Possible. I can see very good question. Extents can attract Java people, right? Possible. Yeah, you can define list of objects in TS. Okay, lot of questions, guys. I'm going to go right from the top. Okay, Angular and MVC. SharePoint, I don't know which version they are using, right? I need to check. Okay, can you make videos of integrating Angular with .NET? I'm a student and really want to learn how to. So we already have the videos of integrating Angular with .NET, MVC core, with JWT token, with interceptor, So yeah, those videos are all there. So in case if people who want to learn very, very quickly, go to this MVC recordings out here. We have done long time back, integrating, creating a patient maintenance screen, basic JWT, passing from Angular token to MVC core. So somebody who wants to remember this training is a repeated training. Now think about live training that I can probably use .NET Core 5.0. So this training we did on May 2020, and today we are doing it again, May 2020. So that is just done recently, right? So we are doing this again on December. So this time I will use .NET 5.0. So it's possible that, in the live training, what happens is I try to use the new version, but definitely you can go and check all this, in case you want to learn MVC with Angular. Sir, but Bootstrap is created by Twitter, which is social media. What is a Bootstrap is good. I have no complaints about Bootstrap, right? It's good. No complaints about that. But the programming languages I'm talking about, Sharad here, let's see, like in India, if I see a milk from Amul, I will use it, right? If I see a milk from some new company, I would like to think about it. So I'll say, okay, like milk is created by Reliance or Reliance is giving milk. I will prefer. What I'm saying is there is a genes of one company. For example, QuestFont, always it is C# and .NET and Angular. We are like Microsoft, I don't know, Bhakt or whatever you want to say, right? So yes, you can trust on us because the whole day from morning till evening, we only do Microsoft. But we are not a guy who can teach you Java, must be probably, right? So I think there is kind of a trust which gets created. So nothing about like the company, but I'm just saying it is, can you say, okay. Why MVC with Angular? In MVC, we have a view. Then what is the use of Angular with combination? So very good question from Shilfa here. See, definitely the UI will be in Angular, but then authentication, authorization, saving it to database, doing validations on server side, we will need MVC core, right? Can we define list of objects in TS? So Lavanya, I've already showed. You can say list like this. Everything is there. When we start doing Angular, you'll find like TypeScript is like C#, right? Okay, I think this question is coming again and again. Let me address this. I can understand this question. I'm going to go and flash this question. Why we have Razor? Why we use Angular? See, Razor or MVC view runs on the server side. So when you write a code like this, datetime.now, it actually executes on the server side. Angular executes on the client side. So what you do is that you have Angular code running inside Razor in the MVC view. So your page name is index.html, CSHTML, but in that complete Angular code is running, right? And you will need an MVC view a lot of times, because you want to do authentication, authorization. At that time, you can't use just Angular UI, right? So must be you would like to make a post back and check that everything is good. All the views will be in Angular, but that first initial view, index.html, login.cshtml, those views, you will still need MVC core. So yes, 99% views will all go to Angular, but that 1% login page must be your index page, the start page, you'd like to have MVC, right? All the other things will go to Angular, definitely. We'll see that as we move ahead, you will see that. So do we need to install TypeScript before we start with Angular? Yes, very good question. I missed it. To install TypeScript, you have to go and say NPM install. Now remember, everything goes via NPM. Everything goes via NPM. Okay, there I can see something out in TypeScript. Okay, so there it is. If you want to install TypeScript, NPM install TypeScript. NPM install jQuery. NPM install this. So that's how you install TypeScript. I think I missed this part. So I can just write down in the notes. Install TypeScript. NPM install TypeScript. Now again, remember, I did not answer you what is -G. Delayed learning. I will teach you later on. So don't worry. Close your eyes. When you feel stressed, close your eyes. Don't see into those things, where try to move ahead, try to create the first Angular application, right? So let us go back and see. I'll try to now answer more questions here. Let me see my agenda. Actually, today in our agenda, we also had running your first Angular application. I think this we will need one more class. Let's not do it today. So today what we have done is today we have got prepared to start with Angular. We did NPM. We did a bit of Node. We installed actually Node. We did not do anything. We talked about we talked about Node Package Manager. We talked about NPM install commands. We talked about VS Code. We talked about package.json. We said that how the versioning controlling system works, caret sign and dollars, caret sign and a tilde sign. We talked about package log.json. We just saw what is TypeScript, why it is, what exactly it means. Why do people say it's a superset of JavaScript, right? So now what I'll do, guys, in this coming 8 or 10 minutes, let me go and take up questions out here. And in the next class, we will just start with Angular, right? So let us not today 1 hour. I know that okay. Okay. Okay, Spring Boot and Angular. Yes, we can arrange that. So Spring Boot, Angular, Questpon support. Can you talk with Vishwanath sir? Vishwanath sir is our Java guy, right? And very a request to all the new members, please start using Teachables. So we have started migrating to Teachables. I would say that old Questpon VD we are using for past 20 years almost. I'm very thankful to Gurunath sir. When I initially started this company, at that time we made it in PHP. He came one day to me and said that, sir, like you should have a website where you can. So we started with Questpon VD, but it is time now to not use Questpon VD, and we have this questpon.teachables.com. So questpon.teachables.com. So must be you guys can start, or teachables.questpon.com. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not able to. Let me get the link. Okay. Questpon support, can you give me the link? I'm sorry. Yeah, I can see a lot of questions out there. Okay, Questpon Teachable, I'm sorry. You know, first thing I should start using it actually. I'm so addicted to that old UI that first I should start using it. It's my mistake. But you know, why we are using Teachable, you know, because now Gurunath sir is doing a lot of things. So here, currently I don't have any access, but you know, in case you are a 5-year user or whatever, right, you get access to all the courses. Here, you know, what you have is you can bookmark, you can, you know, also we are putting tests out here. We're going to go and put tests out here. So if you do learn MVC V5, we have some tests also, right? So must be you can guys start using this, right? Okay, let me see now at questions. I'm going to go to questions out here in the chat. Yeah, we will, Farooq, I will definitely, not today's class, but in the coming class, we will look into debugging performance. Let me see from the top. I'll try to answer whatever questions I can. Right. Okay. So let me, do we install TypeScript to start? Yes. So we have said install this, right? Update lower version to latest version. Okay. So in my, okay, fine. Questpon support, please take all the feedback. Can you explain how web API is consuming Angular? So very quickly, Shafiq, I'll answer that. Nothing, you know, a web API, you have to just make an HTTP call, right? So from Angular, we have an HTTP component. We just say http.post, we say http.get, and that's it, right? So we'll see that. Will Blazor replace JS frameworks? A lot of time it is still, guys. Blazor needs to prove its grit and the worth, right? So what I feel is that start doing Blazor for academic purpose, but I think the JS frameworks will prevail, right? So for some time, at least 5 years, I don't see this WebAssembly thing coming up very quickly until W3C gives it more boost. Remember, a W3C is the biggest, it is the biggest non-profitable organization. They govern how HTML and JavaScript works. So all the other companies like Microsoft, etc., are just small kids before them, right? So I've seen that for the past 40 years, at least from my college only, I've seen that Java applet came, something came from Adobe, they made something, and that came, and this came, and this came, right? But this JavaScript and this HTML and this CSS, they just are there where they are, right? So I think the W3C committee will ensure that JavaScript stays, right? And it is good for everyone that JavaScript should stay. Because if we want democracy in programming, we can't become slave of Microsoft C# or Oracle's Java. There should be one language which is of everyone, right? Because what happens eventually, this Java, etc., they go to bigger companies. With all respect, I'm a big fan of Microsoft, but the web world of HTML and CSS and JavaScript should not be ruled by companies who are listed in stock markets. This is at least my personal thinking. That has to be controlled by non-profitable organization for humankind, so that they can do better. So I feel so they will maintain it. They will definitely not let JavaScript go back. So please see the political aspect of it. Just don't become like technical. Look at techno-political aspect of it, right? Okay. Okay, a lot of source code is missing. In Kiran, point out which source code is missing. We will upload it. Okay. Correspond support, please take all that feedback, right? Okay. Everybody's complaining. See, you told me to announce. Everyone's complaining. How to get access to, okay. Polyfills. Okay, so a lot of questions out there, guys. Let me, at this moment, let me not take more questions. So guys, we'll stop here today. Thank you very much, for everyone to come in out here. Let me quickly check. I can see a lot of questions also there at on YouTube, right? So in the next class, my goal would be, we'll end today's session. Just do 1 hour. If anyone out here in Questpond wants to learn Angular, then this Sunday is very important for you, right? Every Sunday, just come 1 hour into this. That's it. Now what happens is, today is like the first day, 50 people have come in. Next Saturday, what happens? 20. And then next Sunday, what happens? 10. And then one day we have only Money, me, and some other people. We are only around here. I can see some students, only 4 or 5 people out there, and we go till like second, third month. So remember that, guys. It is very important. We try to do the best. We give you the videos. You can learn through the videos. We come on Saturday. We come on Sunday. My team, only 2-3 people team. We try to reach you through phone calls, right? But you have to come on Sunday. You have to sit. You have to connect with Guru Nath. You have to connect with me. You have to ask questions, right? You have to connect with us. If you don't connect with us, it is difficult, right? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks a lot. So I hope that in the next Sunday also we have same 50 people coming.